I was fed up with content. I was losing a bunch of money on crypto. I was fed up with Twitter because I'm a Twitter guy. I was just fed up with everything, and then I lose my cousin, and I was completely broken. I fired up a live stream with another guy. In a matter of weeks, we hit #1 on X. 300,000-400,000 people would view every single day. Dave was a part of that and supported that as well, and come on every week. And I went from still a broken person to now one of the top voices in the market today on X in a matter of a couple of weeks shortly after.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, coming to you live from the Venetian Resort, Las Vegas, the beautiful poker room that they are debuting on this very day. We have been tremendously blessed with some amazing guests that you are enjoying on this run of podcast episodes that are coming out. And today, in this particular episode, is no different. Everything from understanding the way the world works to this whole idea of cryptocurrency to becoming a ferocious Buddha. We're joined by AJ, who is an expert and also helping to promote this incredible brand, Ferocious Buddha. And you have been going around talking to a lot of people, asking them, what does it mean to be a ferocious Buddha? You asked David, what does it mean to be a ferocious Buddha? But now we're asking you, what does it mean to be a ferocious Buddha?
I love it. Thank you for having me, Dave. Thank you. Well, first, to me, I believe it's a principle thing. I actually think Dave, like this is whole philosophy. Ferocious Buddha is a principle thing in my mind. It's a way of life. It's you're driven, but yet if you're only driven, if you're only trying to go forward, if you're trying to break down every door and you don't pause, think, pray, be patient, use awareness on the Buddha side, then I think you're missing a big part of life and you're going to end up beating your head against the wall. So I just really feel like the first time I saw this brand and this idea was in San Diego with Drew Brees. You invited me there and I'm like, what is this? They're like, oh, it's my brand. I'm like, and I found out what it was about. I'm like, it's me. I like it. Give it to me. I'll do it. Boom. It was literally that simple. And it's something that I live by. And it's also a message. See, here's the thing. Especially at that time, my platforms were not as big as they are now, and it's not to brag, but if somebody has a message that you support or that you believe in, that you want to amplify yourself, you wish you could, I recommend supporting someone who is doing that now. So he is supporting that message and he's pushing out that. So for me, in proxy, that was my way of supporting that message of Ferocious Buddha, of living a certain way, thinking a certain way, giving first, and all that kind of stuff. So that was my thinking. And now I have grown. He's helped me out greatly, and we could talk about that if we want. But now I could spread it myself, which is great, and still support the Ferocious Buddha brand.
The ferocious side, to me, is still interesting because the Buddha side's easy. It's not easy to do, but I think people get the concept of being Zen, of being at ease, of allowing things. But the minute you start talking about being ferocious with surrendering, with allowing, with being at ease, our logic doesn't compute. And everybody comes up with these conflictual, counterintuitive perceptions, and the questions start coming out. And it wasn't under these terms. It was being coaches of like, I don't get it. Like, you are one of the most OCD, time freak, active people, and yet you think you're a Buddhist. Right? You're competitive, sometimes comparative. And to be able to reconcile that. And for me, the most ferocious thing you can do is stop.
Slow down.
And we've had so many people here in different contexts, right? Authors and all the people that we've had just today. We've done hundreds of interviews together. And this idea of stopping And then shortening the distance of resistance, to me, is the ferocious part. Because activity is activity. People don't get, like, I could tell you I'm extremely active and I could get high every day, sit at home on my mom's couch, be broke and sick. That is an activity.
That's an activity.
And so it is the alignment of that, the infinite that you talked about, Sean. It was a brilliant way. I'm going to go back and listen to the way that you talked about what I have come up with, which is, a harmonious resonance, which is coexistent with infinite thought. And it's hard to be harmonious, have a harmonious resonance in life, and think that you can be a ferocious Buddha. So it stemmed from, the only thing I could think of, like Psycho Bunny was like
Right.
the best brand that causes the most, like, how can you be a
Conflict, yeah.
Psycho Bunny?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Ferocious and Buddha are so opposite.
Yep.
It's interesting for me because when I was listening to you talk about it, I thought, well, what does ferocious Buddha mean for me? And I'm sure that you've asked a ton of people, and they all have a different interpretation of what it embodies. And definitely not what you were talking about. That's not where I was, but I love that description. But I thought, for me, it would mean being unapologetically who I am,
Nice.
and going after things in a way that's in alignment with the way that I need to do it. That provides me peace. That's just like, for me, it's this, and that ferociousness is the unapologetic part. And not even unapologetic to you or to society or the external world, but to myself, right? And I think that that's what I thought about. So it's very interesting to hear all the interpretations. I love that it can have so much meaning and can be so different for each individual, right? What about you? What's it mean for you?
Let's go, Sean.
Oh, we're doing
Yeah,
what does
I mean, why
ferocious
not?
Buddha mean? Yeah.
That's where we got to go.
Let's
yeah,
go.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's go, yeah.
Well, I agree. I think that ferocious, though, it could have just as easily been tenacious Buddha. One of my favorite words, being tenacious, being ferocious. It doesn't mean ferocious like a Doberman,
yeah.
right? That's not what the use of the word. It's an attitude in which we're attacking this concept of the Zen, the peace, the finding the connection. A lot of people do it, sort of loosely, laissez-faire. Oh yeah, I'm kind of into it. Other people can approach this ferociously, and what that means is that, like, you are tenacious. You are blocking out all of the interference to you attacking, your core central self and your 100% expression of that. When I think, AJ, I remember, and Dave talks about minutes and moments. I think about a moment that we were able to have together at during the Super Bowl week. And learning about your story. I think that, that is a great example of ferocious Buddha. Your spiritual walk in life has taken you to a lot of very interesting places that a lot of people could probably, if you were approaching it softly, could have been like, hey, I think that this is good. We've gone like, well, we'll take it to here. Being a ferocious Buddha means like you feel some of the challenges. You feel called to step into something. And if you're approaching this ferociously, you're like, listen, I'm going to believe that I'm being protected and promoted. I'm going to take these steps. And, I think that your story is perfectly fits to what we were just talking about as well, in the sense that then it opened up and unlocked all this world of opportunity for you that you probably didn't imagine existed prior to that.
No, it
that's
didn't.
what it is for me.
Thank you. And it's basically being able to, it's like movement and being still at the
Yeah.
same time,
Sure.
or being able to go left and right at any moment and finding that balance. It's
Well, I
very
love
hard.
that.
I love
Do you
movement
guys
and being
realize how
still.
fast we are all moving right now?
Right.
On the face of the earth,
You're
through
right.
the universe.
And spinning.
Yeah.
Not just moving fast, we're spinning while we're
Spinning as
moving.
well.
So
Yes.
there's no being still.
Yeah.
It's
No.
impossible to eliminate that as a variable.
It's a stillness inside.
And the
though.
vibration
It's
of
a
our
stillness
cellular.
But
Yes.
sometimes
inside,
it's
I
nice to
think.
just
Yeah.
stop and be like, we're whizzing through.
Woo!
Just to finish up, and I think it's something that just came to mind when Sean was talking to you, that I like, not only what does Ferocious Buddha mean to you, but another way to get great content and to build the brand is how I want to finish the podcast. What is your Ferocious Buddha story?
Exactly.
What is it?
Well, what is it?
We'll finish there.
Well, there's
Pick one, then.
Pick one.
Yeah.
I'll pick one that involves you. I had lost my cousin Christmas this last year. It hasn't even been year, and he was my mentor and amazing person, and I was devastated. And then there was a coaching call with Dave, and on camera, and I really didn't feel like getting on, to be honest, but I knew I needed it. I knew I needed it, and I'm like, okay, let me just get on. I get on, and I'm just like, just don't cry in front of these 500 people here, like in this private coaching group.
Yeah.
And I didn't. Then I just flat out told Dave, I said, Dad, I just lost my cousin. He's the one that introduced me to faith. He's the one that led me to the Lord. He's the one that believed in me and everything. And I was fed up with content. I was losing a bunch of money on crypto. I was fed up with Twitter because I'm a Twitter guy. I was just fed up with everything, and then I lose my cousin. And I was completely broken. And then Dave said a few words to me, just like a sniper, man. He said a few things to me really quick, and then he said he would support me, and he thought I should continue to do content and not stop. And then I said to myself, well, what else am I gonna do? Just sit around and cry? My cousin's not gonna like that either. So I said, all right, let's go. I'm gonna do it. I fired up a live stream with another guy. In a matter of weeks, we hit #1 on X. 300,000-400,000 people would view every single day. Dave was a part of that and supported that as well, and come on every week. And I went from still a broken person to now one of the top voices in the market today on X in a matter of a couple of weeks shortly after he passed. And it was that moment of transition into saying, okay, I'm this, I'm that, I'm broken, but I'm going to just go.
Yeah.
That was my ferocious side, and my Buddha side was willing to forgive myself for not being there for my cousin at the end, and let it go, and just have faith and believe and move forward. So there's so much to this message, and there's so much to this brand, this principle, that it needs to come out, and that's why I'm here.
Absolutely inspirational. AJ, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And I hope that throughout this episode, all of you are thinking about what is your ferocious Buddha moment. Make sure that we'll put links in the show notes. Make sure that you get your ferocious Buddha gear. No better way to show the world that you are living the ferocious Buddha lifestyle. That's it for this week. We'll be back again next week with a brand new edition of the podcast.